Welcome to Thriller Recaps. Today, I am explaining the movie, Killing Them Softly, explaining every scene as it happens. Watch till the end, and please like, share, and subscribe if you enjoy this. Russell arrived late to his meeting with Frankie, holding many dogs by their leashes. John, who had a job for them, clearly stated that he didn't like Russell because he looked like he'd bring trouble. Russell didn't hold back his comments about John not liking him either. Then John sent them out but told Frankie to come back on Thursday. Frankie asked Russell if he'd like to go with him on Thursday, but Russell replied that he didn't like John either. He explained that he was already snatching purebred dogs and selling them in Florida, and he was close to having enough money to become a dealer himself. He told Frankie to get enough information about the job on Thursday, and if he felt comfortable with it, then he could call him. When Frankie got to John on Thursday, John explained that others would detect if they didn't know what they were doing, which was why he was against Russell. He then explained that years ago, a man named Markie robbed his own game. Even when Dylan was hired to investigate it, he could not detect Markie. But after everything cooled down, Markie admitted that he was behind the robbery. Since everyone liked him, they just let it slide. John wanted Frankie and Russell to rob Markie's game, and he'd take the fall for it since they'd done it before. Frankie got Russell in a car as they prepared for the robbery. They joked about how they had no one to mess around with, and Frankie wondered if Russell didn't mess with his dogs. When they got to the front of the casino, Russell brought out dish gloves and wig caps, which made Frankie mad that he couldn't get more professional gloves. They got inside and held everyone at gunpoint. One of them left with Markie when he came out to get the money, while the other made sure the players were in check. While Markie was opening the safe, he tried to get into the robber's head, telling him that they'd come for him, but he could leave peacefully without his friend. However, the robber didn't agree. They both moved to the main room with 2 briefcases, which Markie confirmed had money in them. The other guy made every player put down all the money they had on them. He packed the money and went out with the briefcases. The one left then backed out the door, hurried to the car, and they drove off. Dylan was summoned again, but he sent someone else instead. The person he sent, Jackie, acknowledged that Markie had robbed his game before, but he knew Markie wasn't stupid enough to do it again. So, it had to be someone else who knew about it and wanted to pin it on him. Jackie concluded that they should just hit Markie and get the game back on track since people don't like to lose money. The representative for the people told Jackie that Markie was in bad shape, but the people wanted to know if he did it or not. They wanted him to beat Markie up really well. Jackie replied that Markie would die in the end, so why not just put an end to his misery and kill him once and for all? However, the representative said that would be murder, and the people in charge wouldn't want that. Jackie sent 2 men to Markie. They parked in front of his house and waited until he got back. They held him at gunpoint and beat him up until he was bleeding in the face, despite Markie's pleas of innocence. After several beatings in the rain, they asked Markie once more if he knew the guys who robbed his game, but he pleaded that he didn't. Then they kicked him in the face furiously and left him in a puddle of water in the street. Frankie came back to town with a new car and met up with Russell. They both went back to his place, doing drugs and smoking. Russell told Frankie about his and Kenny's experience when they went to Florida to sell the dogs and how they burned the car they used for the operation. Russell then said he'd soon relocate because of the contract with them. Frankie reassured him that Markie was dead, but Russell replied that Kenny had already told him about Markie and the contract. Frankie became scared because Kenny worked for Dylan, and he was not supposed to know about them, so they both went on the run. Jackie told the representative that he found the boys through Kenny, who worked for them, because one of them was bragging about robbing someone's game and getting $100,000 from it. Jackie told him that he and Dylan agreed to go after the boys immediately and let Markie continue with his business. However, the other man protested, saying Markie was beaten up badly and he was not happy about how they treated him. Jackie eventually said they had to take Markie out completely because the street would always think he did it. He added that they had to hire Mickey to kill the leader of the boys because Mickey had worked for him before and it would get messy if he did it himself. Mickey arrived, and Jackie went to pick him up. They went to a bar where Mickey was very rude to the bartender for delaying his drinks. Mickey told Jackie that the cops once caught him with a shotgun in his trunk. Although he had never used it before, he now had a case for felony possession. An older man with him offered to claim the shotgun due to his advantages, but if the cops figured out it was Mickey's, he'd do time. Jackie asked how his wife was taking it. Mickey said she gave him the divorce papers to sign again, but he begged her to let him finish his time if he actually needed to go. Although she said he kept getting into trouble and she wasn't getting any younger, he still pleaded with her. He even approved of the man she was seeing apart from him until he got back, and then he'd sign. When Jackie complained about Mickey's alcohol intake, Mickey roughly brushed him off. Jackie told Mickey about the mission, explaining that there were 2 people to take out. Mickey said he wasn't supposed to travel without permission from the cops, so he couldn't risk a double. Jackie agreed to leave him to the one he knew and said he'd take care of the other one that night. Later, Jackie was at a coffee shop with Kenny when Markie came in. As soon as Markie saw them, he went back to his car. Jackie immediately told Kenny to get their car, and they followed Markie. Pulling up beside him, Jackie shot him repeatedly, and a car hit Markie's vehicle off the road. Jackie went to see Mickey in his hotel room, where Mickey had been partying for 3 days nonstop. A sex worker was just leaving as Jackie arrived. Mickey complained that he couldn't get over the fact that the man his wife was having an affair with was someone he had known most of his life. He asked if Jackie had also slept with his wife when he came to his place with his brother. Jackie replied that he didn't, explaining that he didn't even stay long with them. Kenny concluded that it was understandable that Mickey was with other women and that his wife chose to sleep around too, but he admitted she was the best among all the women he'd been with. Mickey kept going on about his wife, and Jackie reminded him that he was in town for a mission. He warned Mickey that if he didn't stop drinking himself into a stupor, he'd tip off the cops to send him back to where he came from. Jackie told him to go to sleep and get ready by 7:30. Jackie told the representative about the problem they had with Mickey. He said that if Mickey didn't act right, they'd need $500,000 to pay a sex worker to start a fight with him so the police would send him back. Meanwhile, Russell went to get the last stash of money he kept in the safe while high on drugs. The police had already surrounded the place and arrested him as he was stepping out. Frankie went to John, scared that they'd soon catch up with them too and that he had nobody to call. Jackie met Frankie at a bar one day. He told him he had been looking for him, and that he'd been told Frankie was always at that bar at that time of day. Jackie asked where John would be the following night, but Frankie replied that he didn't know. Jackie told Frankie that it was his chance to save himself, but Frankie insisted he couldn't betray John. Jackie was about to leave when Frankie called him back and asked who he was. Jackie offered to call Dylan to tell him on his behalf. Frankie then revealed that John had a girl and would be with her the next day. Jackie told him he'd have to be with him at the location, which terrified Frankie, bringing him to the verge of tears. When they got to the location, they waited for a while. John arrived with a lady, escorted her back to her place, and as he was returning, Jackie shot him. John fell to the ground, groaning in pain. Jackie approached him and shot him dead. Cops started moving toward them, so Jackie hurried back into the car. Frankie started driving really fast. Jackie told him to slow down, but Frankie complained that he couldn't and told Jackie to drive instead. Jackie took over and drove them to an underground parking garage. He told Frankie to wipe down the car and lay low, but as soon as Frankie got out, Jackie shot him in the head repeatedly. Jackie then wiped his prints off the steering wheel and door handles before leaving. John and Frankie were taken to the mortuary. Jackie met up with the representative at a bar, got his payment, and went to count it in the restroom. When he returned, he told the representative it was only $30, and his payment was $15 per person. The representative told him that Dylan takes $10, and since he was filling in for him, Jackie had to take his price and sort it out with Dylan. Jackie replied that Dylan was dead and that America is not a place where people look out for each other, it is a business place. He then demanded his full payment. Subscribe for more daily videos. Your support, likes, shares, and subscriptions mean a lot. See you in the next video.